we have anything to talk about? That's how the performance was from Royal Challengers Bangalore. What a performance this has been. Fourth consecutive win for them in IPL 2021. Demolished, I would say. What a constructed win this has been from Devdutt Padikkal. Second centurion in IPL 2021. Came in front of the first one. That is, of course, Sanju Samson. Virat Kohli scoring that half century. It's a clinical performance because if you can keep a side like Rajasthan Royals, who are batting first, who have played 4 games on this wicket for just 177 runs, and then just chase down the score in less than 17 overs, you have performed exceptionally well. And to discuss all of it, I have, of course, been joined in with Arohi and, of course, Monty Paji on the show. Monty Paji, start आपसे करेंगे. मैं तो खाना खा रहा था. Monty Paji is gone again, so I will probably start. No, he's come back. Monty, you are doing like Rajasthan Royals now. They probably perform, they probably come back. That's exactly that they do. Monty, I was having my dinner because least interested in the game, what was going on. 181 runs. They did not lose even a single wicket. What is there anything for Rajasthan Royals fans?
Well, I think I think the difficulty is with Rajasthan Royals is that they obviously, their team is very much reliant on overseas players, and Jofra Archer coming back is they're waiting on him, and Ben Stokes being injured, it's really it's been a huge sort of loss to the Rajasthan Royals, and they I think this is a strategy. It's like if a team is basing their kind of strategy on overseas players, this is the stuff that can happen. If one of them gets injured, then suddenly the team is like finding themselves in a bigger hole than they need to be. So that's why it's very dangerous. I think you should always look to build your team on the Indian domestic players, and the overseas players is a bonus, is an addition. But I think this, Rajasthan Royals have clearly had a strategy thinking the team's going to be based around Josh Buttler, Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer, and then the team works. But if one of them gets injured, then you can see, look, how, they probably end up just, it'll be very difficult. I can't see them making the playoffs now.
Absolutely. It's very, very difficult for them to make it into playoffs, but it's not difficult for us to add one more guest. Ashwin, where are you? How about you also come and join us in this discussion? Ashwin, it's very difficult for Rajasthan Royals to find a victory, but it wasn't that difficult to find you. Where were you? Why were you hiding?
मैं उदास कोने में कहीं मुंह छुपा के बैठा हुआ था क्योंकि मेरी उम्मीदें बहुत रहती हैं राजस्थान से और I always like to root for the underdogs. I think I always like to do that, and clearly my predictions have stopped working now halfway in the tournament and the underdogs have stopped performing. So हाँ, मैं शायद कहीं कोने में मुंह छुपा के बैठा हुआ था. I was feeling sad.
Ashwin, jokes apart, something like this we don't expect. यार मतलब हर match में if you will perform like this. Me and Arohi, we were having a discussion just 10 minutes back, and I was discussing with my mother. My mother said, just complete your dinner and then go. मैंने कहा, Mom, no, the game is over. The game is over. We need to go back. And if these performances will come time and again, it will become very difficult for Rajasthan Royals fans to actually stick with the franchise. They'll probably shift it to somebody else. Because if RCB was not performed for 13 years, has won 4 games on the trot, either they are doing something exceptionally well, or other teams have lost it.
No, I think they've surprised themselves too. If you saw the toss, I think firstly Virat Kohli got surprised that he won the toss because he's so used to losing the toss. तो पहले तो वो हैरान हो गए कि अच्छा मैं टॉस भी जीत गया, अच्छा मैं 3 games और रो भी जीत गया, अब चौथा भी हो गया रो. So I think they're themselves getting surprised that we are actually doing these things. And I think sometimes that happens where there's nothing to lose. I think when nobody's expecting anything of you, I think you've been written off always. So I think वही जो टॉस में हमें देखने को मिला, how Virat was surprised he actually won the toss. I think it's the same thing with RCB's whole team's mindset now that there's absolutely nothing to lose every year. Like there are no expectations as such. Yes, everybody loves the team, but they know that they're probably not going to win it. And I think that's probably taken the pressure off. But at the same time, I must give credit to some of the players like Siraj. I mean, I must say he's really evolved as a bowler. We've always seen Bangalore pretty much lose all the games when it comes to their bowling. If you see, batting has always been good. Yeah, I think batting they've always given great performances, especially since Devdutt has come into the picture. But it's been the bowling that's been a letdown always for RCB, and I think I have just been like amazed. If you see how Siraj has been bowling, be it the death, be it with the new ball in the power play, and the other players have started chipping in, because if you see now, Chahal actually hasn't been taking the wickets and still they've been winning. And that is a phenomenal trend that we are seeing for RCB, which has never happened in the years before. So ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, ये बहुत बड़ी achievement है that with Chahal, your main go-to wicket taker who's not taking wickets, you are still managing to win the game. So clearly the trade of Harshal Patel has worked really well for you. It has worked like a charm. You finally found somebody who's taking wickets in the death. You have finally found Siraj, sort of coming of age and being groomed into this player who is taking up responsibility. You now have depth with somebody as experienced like a Kane Richardson also now. A young gun like Shahbaz Nadeem is also pitching in, bowling in those crucial overs in the middle and, probably taking a wicket here or there. So I think when you're seeing such amazing improvement in the bowling, I mean, then how can you not win 4 in a row? Yeah, batting though was anyway like clicking.
एब्सोल्युटली काफी अच्छा पॉइंट वहां पे रेस करा, क्योंकि कलेक्टिव परफॉर्मेंसेज आने लगी हैं आरोही. आप जिसकी तरफ आप मुड़ के देखोगे वो आपको परफॉर्म करके दे रहा है. चाहे देवदत्त पडिक्कल की आज सेंचुरी देख लो, विराट कोहली कैप्टनसी अच्छी कर रहे हैं, आज बल्ले से रन भी निकल गए. एवी डिविलियर्स ने अभी शानदार पारी खेल कर आ रहे हैं. ग्लेन मैक्सवेल थोड़े टाइम तक ऑरेंज कैप थी उनके पास के अंदर. और इन ऑल एवरीबॉडी इज परफॉर्मिंग. तो आज ही कहना गलत नहीं होगा आरोही कि एक कंप्लीट परफॉर्मेंस, क्योंकि पहले इनिंग्स के अंदर 9 विकेट निकालना और फिर 10 विकेट से जीतना है. पहला गेम हुआ है 2021 के आईपीएल में जो टीम चेस करते हुए 10 विकेट से जीती है.
राइट, अग्रीड. और ये सब तभी पॉसिबल है जब आपका टीम के प्लेयर्स है वो एक दूसरे पे ट्रस्ट करे. वापस आई एम गोइंग बैक टू द सेम पॉइंट कि ये टीम इतनी अच्छे से बिल्ट अप हुआ है, आई थिंक. और ये एक सीजन में नहीं हुआ है, ऑल दिस हैपेंड ओवर द इयर्स. So ये over the years का जो bonding है वो शायद इस सीजन में इतना अच्छा उभर के आ रहा है. And one more important point is, I don't think we should go so hard on Rajasthan, at least in the first leg of the tournament. क्योंकि हम इस साल एक चीज भूल रहे हैं कि कोई भी टीम अपने होम ग्राउंड्स पे नहीं खेल रही है तो होम ग्राउंड एडवांटेज नहीं है. बैंगलोर को वो एडवांटेज है बिकॉज बैंगलोर में उनके गेम्स कुछ चले नहीं. तो शायद वो भी एक रीजन हो सकता है क्यों बैंगलोर इतनी उभर के आ रही है, उनको इतनी चांस मिल रहे हैं, वो अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस कर पा रहे हैं. बट ऑन द सेम साइड आई थिंक राजस्थान वही मिस कर रहे हैं. और प्रोबेबली ये पिच, ये ग्राउंड उनको सूट नहीं हो रहा है. बट जैसे वेन्यूज चेंज होंगे वी माइट एक्सपेक्ट अ टर्न ऑफ इवेंट्स कि राजस्थान के जो प्लेयर्स नहीं परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं वो शायद परफॉर्म करने लग जाए. शायद वो भी टीम थोड़ी सी स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाए. शायद जो कमियां है उस पर काम करना शुरू हो जाए. So I think let's not go a little hard on Rajasthan just yet. Let's wait for another few games.
थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे डिसएग्री करूंगा आरोही आपसे. उसका रीजन एक बहुत बड़ा ये है कि राजस्थान रॉयल्स वाज द फर्स्ट फ्रेंचाइज टू स्टार्ट देयर प्रिपरेशंस फॉर 2021 सीजन. सेकंड ऑफ ऑल मुंबई में जरूर खेल रहे हैं, पर मुंबई इनका एक सेकंड होम ग्राउंड सा माना जाता है. इनका जो हेड ऑफिस है वो मुंबई के अंदर है. तो सबसे पहले जो प्रिपरेशन होती है जयपुर में आने से पहले ये लोग मुंबई के अंदर करते हैं. ये सब जानते हैं. ये अब अगर आप 4 मैचेस बाद भी ये कहें कि मेरे को प्रिपरेशन नहीं थी या मेरे को कंडीशन समझ में नहीं आ रही, तो ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक्सक्यूजेस हैं, इसके अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है. और अगर आप ऐसी परफॉर्मेंसेस देते रहेंगे तो आपके जो 1,00,000-1,50,000 फैंस जो बचे हुए हैं सिर्फ वो भी चले जाएंगे, क्योंकि मिलियंस में जो आपके फॉलोअर्स थे वो तो गए.
बट इसी हिसाब से फिर हम बैंगलोर के बारे में भी कह सकते हैं. हम ये भी कह सकते हैं कि इतने साल से वो जो बैंगलोर की पिच पे हार रहे थे वो भी शायद एक एक्सक्यूज हो गया, और फाइनली इतने साल बाद वो फाइनली जीत रहे क्योंकि वो पिच पे नहीं खेल रहे. तो आई थिंक द आर्गुमेंट कैन गो बोथ वेज.
Yeah. So as Ashwin was mentioning, what RCB is doing as of now, it's a surprise for themselves. They winning a toss, it's a surprise for them. I absolutely, to be very true to you, I think Virat Kohli will not be able to sleep today. He will actually be checking points table on SportsTiger again and again, whether we are 4 in a row or what. So that's exactly will be the situation for everybody in RCB camp. Jokes aside, my marketing aside, of course, I'll go to Monty Paji. Monty Paji, short of a length delivery again and again. You are pitching to somebody like Virat Kohli. I'm talking about Shreyas Gopal. What kind of a bowling that was? Because you were picked in the side ahead of Jaydev Unadkat, somebody like Sanju Samson, somebody like Zubin Barucha, who is the head of cricket operations for Rajasthan Royals. He was expecting something different from Shreyas Gopal, but time and again, short of a length delivery, pitching is short, and then just all balls going out of the park. What was the strategy? Where exactly the young chap went wrong?
Well, I think it's to do more with, Rajasthan Royals. The both batsmen. They were, really they batted so well. Now, what happens is when you're under pressure, you're not confident of bowling the slower balls, or the ideal balls are actually the cutters, the Yorkers, or the slower ball bouncer. You don't believe in that. You don't have the confidence to do that, and you keep then actually bowling the ball that they want you to bowl. Is in the slot, is back of a length, just fast, and thinking that you're, as a bowler, you always go back to your best delivery, thinking that will get you out of the equation, but it doesn't. Not in T20 cricket. It's about being quite clever and being unpredictable. And sometimes when you're under pressure, without you realizing, you become predictable.
अश्विन, आज के गेम से पहले, क्योंकि मैं भी एक राजस्थान रॉयल्स का फैन था, तो मैं थोड़े से वीडियोस वगैरह देख रहा था. उसमें एक जोशी कह रहे थे कि आज राजस्थान रॉयल्स का मैच बहुत अच्छा रहने वाला है और टूर्नामेंट में बहुत अच्छे करने वाले हैं, 4 टॉप 4 में आ जाएंगे, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. हुआ कुछ भी नहीं. तो थोड़ा सा बताएं कि प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच राजस्थान की गलत कहाँ पे हो रही?
वेदांत जोशी तो ये भी कह रहे थे कि सैमसन इंडिया के लिए खेलेंगे और शायद परमानेंट विकेट कीपर के स्लॉट में आएंगे, मगर सैमसन देखिए आज कहाँ है. इतने इनकंसिस्टेंट प्लेयर बन गए हैं अब इंडिया के लिए और अपने फ्रेंचाइज के लिए भी अब. So I think what Monty started with initially, the point that he raised, the Indian players who've been a letdown, I think that's where the story really ends for Rajasthan. Because if you see, he's absolutely right. I mean, it's the Indian Premier League. It's not the English Premier League. You have to get the best Indians in your squad around which you build your team. You saw that with Delhi. That's why they've had this turnaround in their squad and they reached the finals last year, because now they have such amazing Indian talent and around them the team really functions. It's Rabada Nokia supporting the Indian guys more than the Indian guys like batting around the foreign players. So he's absolutely spot on. And this is exactly what the problem with Rajasthan is. I mean, they have failed to scout the right talent, and unfortunately, the talent they've invested in, they haven't delivered to the promise that they showed, be it Sanju Samson, be it Shivam Dubey this season, be it Yashasvi Jaiswal, be it, Brian Parag, Shreyas Gopal. The only ray of hope, the only shining light has been the young Sakaria. If you see Sakaria and last season, probably Kartik Tyagi. So Kartik Tyagi and Chetan Sakaria have been the only, I think, sort of little ray of sunlight in this whole Rajasthan squad who've delivered to the promise. So lots to think about for the management. It's, I think, very disappointing for them also. And I don't know where they will go from here. I really don't know, because I don't see this side really turning things around for them very quickly. Next year, the big auction comes up. A lot of big names will come up in the pool, and they will really have to rethink, re-strategize, and approach the game very differently, because getting the right balance, getting the right Indian local players is the way to go. You cannot bank on your English contingent to come in and save the game every time. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Now, because there is no support of a Ben Stokes down the order or a Jofra Archer, up front with the ball, you're seeing them, looking for options. Like, who do we go to? Who's our guy? Who's going to save the game? Because clearly David Miller is not that guy. He's been pretty much out of action in the international arena as well. So, I mean, lot of questions, and their only savior I see is probably next year, the mega auction. They have to get some new, fresh Indian talent around which this team can be again built on. So, no expectations after today's game going forward in this tournament from Rajasthan.
It's so sad to hear, because just 4 games done and dusted, 10 games are still remaining, and we are already talking about 22 auction for Rajasthan Royals. That's how the team has been. I have one more point, which seems to be a little interesting, Ashwin and Monty, probably, because as much as I agree to whatever you guys said, team needs to perform. Domestic players needs to step up. But what about the overseas players? If we actually see Josh Butler is not performing, he may have made a 49 against Chennai Super Kings, but other than that, his performances have been absolute failure. Ben Stokes, time and again, he will perform in a couple of games, but he will flunk in all rest of them. If you see other bowlers like Jofra Archer, the team is heavily dependent on Jofra Archer. He's not there. The team is not performing. And for the fourth overseas slot, there is still a question mark. Who should play? Who should not? This year, we are going somebody like Mustafizur Rahman in place. Are we actually doing justice in the auction? That's one. And second of all, are we actually investing on the right players? Because Chris Morris, 16.25, you went for so many runs, you are not scoring runs. So it's also about the overseas players.
Yeah, I think Vedant, it's also about the team culture, right? What's the kind of team culture you're building? You have a young guy like Samson leading in, and then who's around him, who's really building that sort of culture around Samson, helping him and supporting him and taking this whole team forward. Actually, I had great expectations when Sangakkara was appointed as the director of cricket. I really thought that he would bring in that fresh energy. But yeah, that's clearly not happening. And about investment in talent, I still believe that the talent is right, but probably they're under too much pressure. So if you see a Josh Butler also, probably he's failing to perform because he's under so much pressure, because on the other end, there's a Manan Vora who throws away his wicket in the power play as soon as he comes out to bat. So obviously he's going to be under pressure. You have to understand that. Like your overseas player, like Josh Butler will always be under pressure because he knows the guy on the other end, Manan Vora, will not make more than 5-7 runs. He will throw away his wicket in the power play. Then you have somebody like even Ben Stokes. He knows that, oh my God, the whole middle order has collapsed. Now I have to save the game. I have to win this. Jofra Archer, again, under pressure because all the other bowlers are leaking runs. And now he has to save the game. So if you put your overseas players always in these crunch situations where they have to save the game every time, I mean, more often than not, they'll end up failing because they'll crumble under the pressure.
Absolutely a lot to think about. If you are Rajasthan Royals camp, Zubin Bharucha, Romy Bender, Sairaj Bhutale, Kumar Sangakkara, there are so many of you that you have to think if you are in the management. Sanju Samson, you need to step up because the expectations are really high. You let down so many Rajasthan Royals fans. You let go somebody like Steven Smith just because you guys felt that the captaincy was not doing justice. But every year you perform almost the same, if not the same. Not happy at all with the performances, because then we see a gap. Then we see a gap between top 4 and the bottom 4, and it has started to build again in IPL. Not a good sign for the tournament as well. Let's see what happens, because tomorrow is a big game. Punjab coming up against Mumbai Indians. Mumbai coming up with a lot of confidence, even when they have lost their last game. On the other hand, Punjab, if they don't win this one, I don't know where they are going. Again, Virat Kohli on the top, Sanju Samson occupying the bottommost position on the points table. Very, very sad. And that's how we will be ending this live. Thank you so much, Arohi. Thank you so much, Ashwin. Thank you so much, Monty, for being with us on the show. We'll be joining you guys back tomorrow. Thank you.